Welcome to another Fast Tech video. In this much requested video, I'm going to be showing you how to completely disassemble a 1200 series PS5, which is the last model PS5 FAT, and fix overheating issues by cleaning out the system, respreading the liquid metal if necessary, fixing powering issues by replacing the power supply, fixing disk reading issues by cleaning or replacing the laser lens, or even replacing the entire disk drive if necessary, and going through almost every single issue that plagues these systems, including guest appearances from lesser YouTube channels.
Fast Tech is the #1 channel on YouTube.
Before we start, please go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. FastTechStore.com carries all PlayStation 5 parts, including the 1200 series. We carry disk drives, power supplies, motherboards, and more. All of our parts include a lifetime warranty and free worldwide shipping. Use coupon code YouTube for a discount. We also offer fast repair service. To make sure this video is right for you, check the model number of your PS5 here. If you have a stand attached, you may have to remove it. The first thing I'm going to show you how to fix is a very common issue with all PS5s, which is overheating. So when the system overheats, you'll get this PS5 is too hot error message on screen. You'll hear 3 beeps and the console will turn off. In some cases, this problem is caused due to dust buildup, which is relatively easy to fix. In other cases, it could be due to spilled or oxidated liquid metal. We'll save this for last, as it is more advanced, but simple dust cleaning can be done by anyone using a brush that is available in the Fast Tech Pro Toolkit. You can use a brush to clean out these ducts at the front. Your PS5 pushes out hot air from these vents, and if they're blocked, your system can overheat. The PS5 that we're going to be disassembling down to the motherboard was not this dusty. This was a console that came in from a walk-in customer. To clean or disassemble the console further, we must disassemble it. And we're going to pull down from this side of the case, like so. The case is held on by these clips. Now we're going to use a Fast Tech Pro Auto Kit, which is an automatic screwdriver with a Phillips head, to remove this screw. This is for the SSD cover. Next, we're going to pull up on this grate. This is a piece of plastic trim that comes off easily. Now we're going to lift up this cover that hides the fan connector. Next, we have to remove the fan connector. Now we're going to hook up a Torx T9H to our Fast Tech Pro Auto Kit and remove these 4 screws that hold in the fan assembly. With those screws gone, now we can lift up this piece. And we should have better access to the fan in case yours is dusty, like the PS5 in this example. The inside of this PS5 looks like the Sahara Desert. I used to be a white guy before I started working on it. This fan needs to be spinning in order to cool your PS5. And if it no longer spins, you need to replace it. If you need one, head over to FastTechStore.com. If you have a fan that spins properly, your overheating issue could be caused by dust buildup in the heatsink. And you can stick a brush in here and clean out these metal fins, as air has to pass through them in order to cool your APU chip and other components. And if this heatsink is blocked, your PS5 will overheat. If yours was clogged with dust, I would recommend using a brush or a compressed air can to knock out any dust out of the heatsink. This PS5 was relatively clean. But here's that PS5 you saw earlier that's full of dust. After cleaning the heatsink with a brush, a vacuum cleaner can be used to remove any dust, debris, or pet hair from the heatsink. Now we need to remove these Torx T9H screws. This bit is available in the FastTech Pro Toolkit, the FastTech Pro Auto Kit, and the FastTech Auto Tool. It's worth noting that normally there is a sticker on top of this screw, which is a warranty seal, and if you're outside the United States, removing it can void your warranty. With those screws out, now we can lift up the case. I like to leave these screws in for easier reassembly, but in case you don't, I will show you where each one goes later in the video. Now I'm going to show you how to fix your PS5 if it's no longer reading your game discs or your Blu-ray movies, and you get an unreadable disc error instead. We're going to push down on this retaining clip and pull out this ribbon cable. Now we have to remove the power connector. I like to grab all the wires and slowly wiggle and lift up. Now the disk drive is free. If you want to buy a disk drive with a lifetime warranty, check the description box. There are 3 different versions of disk drives for the Fat PS5. Make sure you check yours before you order. To successfully replace the disk drive in any Fat PS5, this logic board has to be moved over to the new disk drive. I'm going to use a FastTech Pro Auto Kit with a Phillips size 00 to remove these screws. These 4 silver Phillips screws also have to be removed. Next, this silver tape has to be removed. Now the disk drive cover can be lifted. These 2 black Phillips screws have to come out for us to remove the disk drive's logic board. This data ribbon cable needs to be lifted up. This connector needs to be pulled out like so, and there's a clip on this one that needs to be lifted up before we can pull out the cable. This one simply pulls out. On Fat PS5s, this disk drive logic board is married to the motherboard, and there's no easy way of replacing this. This board has to be transferred over to your new disk drive, ordered from fasttechstore.com, of course, otherwise your PS5 is not going to read discs. Our disk drives, unlike the ones from Amazon, include a lifetime warranty. There is a cheaper solution than replacing the disk drive, which is cleaning or replacing the laser, and I'm going to show you how to do that next. We're going to use a Phillips size 1 to remove these 4 screws. Now the drive's roof mechanism can be lifted up like this. To clean the laser, we're going to need isopropyl alcohol and Q-tips, available of course, surprise surprise, at fasttechstore.com. We want to get a Q-tip, soak it in isopropyl alcohol, and clean the laser lens in a circular motion, as demonstrated here. Then the dry end of the Q-tip can be used to clean off the isopropyl alcohol. You can also use isopropyl alcohol to clean other parts of the drive, but leave the gears on the left side alone. Cleaning the laser will only work for about 10% of people watching this video when it comes to fixing the unreadable disk error. But it's worth trying, since this step is practically free. If replacing the laser lens fails, we're going to have to replace the laser deck, and we can do that by removing these 4 Phillips screws. Now let's flip the disk drive over and let's get this ribbon cable out of its track. Now the laser deck can be lifted out, and we can simply remove this ribbon cable by pulling it out. This is the laser lens and motor assembly that reads your Blu-ray discs. This is a KEM 497 AAA and is available, surprise surprise, at fasttechstore.com with a lifetime warranty. Let's get our replacement laser in. Let's push this ribbon cable in, and let's get the laser seated in position. Now let's get the ribbon cable back in its track. Next, these 4 Phillips screws have to go in. Next, let's put the drive roof mechanism on. Make sure this standoff goes in this slot in the roof mechanism here, otherwise your PS5 won't accept discs. Now let's install these 4 Phillips screws in the roof mechanism. Now let's install these ribbon cables back in. This one pushes in all the way till the blue line. Same with this one here. Push it in all the way till the blue line. This connector goes in like this. Red wire facing north. This cable also has to go in like this all the way till the blue line, and then this clip has to be pushed down. Now let's put the drive in its housing like this. Make sure the cable on the right side does not get pinched. And now we must install these 2 Phillips screws in the logic board to secure it in place. Next, we're going to install this part of the shell on top of the disk drive like this. And then we're going to install these 4 silver Phillips screws in the following places. These black Phillips screws go in the following places. Cleaning or replacing the laser or replacing the disk drive will fix any kind of disk reading issues that you may have with your PS5. So you're welcome. You can tell me how great I am and thank me in the comments section below. This PS5 was not reading discs, but after replacing the laser, the DEI Spider-Man game is now running. Next, I'm going to show you how to fix your PS5 if it's not turning on at all, which means there's no light indicator or beep sound when you press the power button. In a majority of cases, this problem is caused by a bad power supply. I'm going to show you how to replace it. This long Torx T9H screw needs to come out, and we need to flip it over, and there's 2 more on this side, 1 here and 1 here. Now let's flip it back over, and there's 1 more Torx T9H screw here that needs to be removed. Now let's remove these antenna cables by lifting them up. This ribbon cable needs to be removed. This one also. Now let's get these antenna cables out of the way. Now we can lift out the motherboard assembly and the front panel out like so. Take your time with this step, as there's still a ribbon cable connected at the front that we do not want to break. To avoid breaking the front USB ribbon cable, remove these 5 screws, take this off, and then you can push down on this connector here and pull out the ribbon cable. This is exclusive to the 1200 series and the PS5 Slims. I did not know this at the time I was recording this video. Now let's put some bubble wrap on the top heatsink and flip it over and pull out the old power supply. This component, which is known as the power supply, converts AC electricity into DC current and tends to blow during a power surge or a lightning strike. Before replacing the PSU, we must move over this antenna. This is an ADP 400FR, which is the power supply that ships in North American units, but in Asian or European consoles, it's a PA1401JT3. Both models are available at fasttechstore.com and are completely interchangeable with one another. Take note that your 1200 series PS5 will only work with the two power supply models that I mentioned earlier, and the rest of the power supply models will not work. Keep this in mind when ordering a power supply from us. Also keep in mind that unlike our competitors, our power supplies come with a lifetime warranty. Head over to fasttechstore.com and use coupon code YouTube for a discount. This antenna has to be moved over from your old power supply to the new one. It's held on by these clips. These antenna cables have to be routed through here. Now your new power supply from fasttechstore.com is ready to be installed. These two holes go on these two pins. Once lined up, we can push down the power supply in place. The antenna wires have to be tucked through here. If you had a PS5 that was not powering on and you've replaced the power supply, it should fix your problem. If you're here to work on or replace the motherboard, these Torx T9H screws must be removed, and there's a bunch of them. Fortunately, us having a FastTech Pro Auto Kit makes the process a lot less painful. If I didn't have a FastTech Pro Auto Kit, I'd have this PS5 ready for the customer by the time PlayStation 6 came out. With the 50,000 screws finally removed, we're going to push down on this retaining clip and pull on this ribbon cable. Then we're going to lift up this cover, and then we're going to push down on this clip and pull out this ribbon cable, which is for the front USB ports. I inevitably forgot to remove one screw up here, of course, since there's so many. This super necessary piece of tape-like material has to be removed. And now we can lift up this piece here, which is the back plate. This is held on by thermal putty. It might not come off easy. Next, we're going to remove these Torx T9 screws that hold the heatsink against the APU and the motherboard. Next, let's lift up this brace. And now let's remove this power cable here. There's two more Torx T9 screws that hold the motherboard in. Let's get them out of there. Next, we're going to use a pry tool to gently lift the motherboard out. Now the motherboard's free. A lot of overheating issues in PS5s are caused by liquid metal oxidation. The liquid metal on this PS5 looks good, so I'm going to use a different PS5 to show you how to fix liquid metal related issues. As you can see on this PS5, there is oxidation on this chip. Sometimes the liquid metal can spill over to one side, which can also cause your PS5 to overheat, show this message, and then turn off. I'm going to show you guys how to fix that by topping up the liquid metal with liquid metal that you can purchase, or you can also respread the liquid metal that's already there. Make sure you do not get any of this stuff on any other components on the motherboard, otherwise you will cause a short. The motherboard that's being used in this example is from a PS5 launch model 1000 series console with a motherboard EDM010, but the method on applying liquid metal is the same across all PS5s. This is what your final result should look like. As you can see, there's a pool of liquid metal with no oxidation anywhere. This is what your chip should look like before you reassemble. We must do the same thing on the heatsink. If you are adding liquid metal instead of respreading what's already there, make sure you use very small and moderate conservative amounts, because if this stuff spills over, it can cause a short on your motherboard, as I mentioned earlier. This PS5 mainboard's model number is EDM030, and all 1200 series PS5s either have an EDM030 or an EDM033. They are interchangeable with one another and available at fasttechstore.com. If you're here to fix a PS5 that beeps but does not turn on, or a blue light comes on and you hear a beep sound but the PS5 won't turn on, this is most likely happening because of a short or some other issue related to the motherboard. To learn how to fix shorts, let's now hear from a fellow YouTuber and a fan of the channel, Northridge Fix.
Now I'm going to use a multimeter to find the short. Let's replace the capacitor. I have a lot of donor boards for PS5 from customers who did not want to pay my $150 bench fee. Now let's put the capacitor we took from the bullshit guy customer's board, and let's put it on the paying customer's motherboard. Looks like I was not able to fix this PS5 motherboard. I think we need help from the boss of all bosses, fasttechstore.com. Fasttechstore.com has all the PS5 parts that we need, and they also include a lifetime warranty and free worldwide shipping. They stock disk drives, power supplies, motherboards, and everything else. You can use coupon code YouTube for a discount. They also provide fast repair service for PS5.
Thank you for that, Northridge Fix. Now I'm going to show you guys how to fix other issues on your PlayStation 5's motherboard. One of the most common PS5 issues is a broken HDMI port. And if you have a PS5 that no longer shows any video output to your TV, it's most likely because of a broken HDMI port. These ports break due to bad design and user recklessness. To replace it, you need a soldering iron and a hot air station. Heat needs to be applied to the port with a hot air station, and heating up the anchor points with a soldering iron. You can also use flux to make the process a little bit easier. Once the old port's off, we can put our new port on as demonstrated here. This demonstration is done on a PS5 Slim, as I have not received a 1200 series PS5 with this issue. Another thing that causes video output issues is this chip right here, which I'll show you how to replace in a future video. If your PS5 is no longer connecting to any controller, or your Wi-Fi list is not showing, it's most likely because of this chip, which I'll also show you how to replace in a future video. Now let's get the heatsink out. We need to flip over the PS5, and there are these two screws, which I already removed earlier in the video, but in case you haven't, these two screws have to come out, and then this heatsink can be free. This PS5's heatsink is clean, as this PS5 came from a good home, but here's that PS5 again that is full of dust and cat hair. As I've already previously stated, but for the people who skip watch the videos, dust in this heatsink is going to cause overheating issues. So if you've made it this far, make sure it is cleaned out. You also want to check the power supply for dust. Next, I'm going to show you how to replace the front USB board. It's held in by these 3 screws. You can use a Phillips size 000 to remove them. If your front USB ports are no longer working and you get that too many USBs connected error message, replacing this board will fix that problem. This is an EDU030, and I know you weren't expecting this, but it is available at fasttechstore.com. Next, let's remove the power and eject button assembly, and it's held in by 2 screws. This is the panel that houses the eject and the on-off buttons. On digital models, it's just a power button, and in some rare cases it can cause powering issues. This is an LED board module. This produces the blue and white light you see on the PS5. It can be removed by removing that 1 screw, and now it's free. There's an additional antenna in the front panel. It can be released by pushing this clip, and it should come out. It goes back in the same way it came out. Now let's put the LED board back in, and let's fasten the single screw that holds it in. Now let's put the USB board back in. It's got 3 Phillips screws that hold it in. Now the power button assembly goes back in. It's held in by 2 screws. Now let's put the front panel back in like this. Now the power supply goes back in. You want to make sure that the cables in the front do not get pinched underneath. Let's get the cables and wires from the left out of the way so we can put the heatsink in. Once again, making sure that the front USB cable and the power ribbon cables do not get caught underneath. Now we're going to put the motherboard back in. The side with the ports at the back goes in first, and then we can put the motherboard in position. You want to make sure that the motherboard is seated nice and flat against the heatsink. Now let's put this brace back in, and now let's install this clamp with the 2 Torx T9 screws that hold the heatsink in place. You should always tighten these diagonally and not one at a time. This ensures even tightness. There's 2 Torx T9 8 screws that go here and here. Now the back plate can go back on. We got to make sure that these antenna cables go through here and that they're slotted through in the track where they're supposed to be. This ribbon cable goes in like this. This is for the front LED panel. We have to push it all the way to the blue line. These connectors line up like this, and then we got to push them down. Same with these ones here. This ribbon cable is for the front eject and power button, and this is for the USB board at the front. We're going to push down on this clip and push the cable in. Now these Torx T9 8 screws go in the following places. Now let's put this cover back on. Same screws go on in the following places. Out of these two screws, the long one goes on the right and the short one goes on the top left here. Now these two machine screws go in the back, here and here. Now it's time to install the disk drive back in if you're not a lackey with a digital edition PS5. Let's push down on this retaining clip and push the ribbon cable in on both sides. This side also has a retaining clip. Now let's install the power cable back in on both ends. Let's get it under this super necessary tape. And now let's install the top cover with a shell back on. In my infinite wisdom, I left the screws in the case, but in case you didn't, I'll show you where each one goes back in. Because I am, as I've stated before, kind, generous, and giving. There are all different kinds of screws with different threads, sizes, etc. And there's no video on YouTube that shows you how to reassemble these PS5s in this much detail. So please drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, as that costs you nothing, but it helps us out a lot. Now let's put the fan back in, like this. Let's get the connector installed. This cover goes on like this. These two machine screws that are equal in length go on the right side of the fan, here and here. The shortest one with the plastic thread goes there, and the long one goes on the top left. Now let's install this grate. The corners go in first, like this, and then you can push it down, and it clips in place. This SSD cover goes on like this, and there's a Phillips screw that holds it in. This cover for the fan connector goes on here. Now we can install these side covers, like so. We're going to line it up and then push it in place. And that concludes our PS5 1200 series Ultimate Repair Guide. If this video helps you out, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. This is Shiroz from Fast Tech signing out, and I'll see you in the next one.
We are putting immediately a tariff of 1,000,000% on fasttechstore.com. Their lifetime warranty and free worldwide shipping is too good, and our American businesses simply cannot compete.